Hey, a new experiment. I'm on a retreat this and next week, so I don't do much work. Well, not the usual kind of work, obviously. And I'm experimenting as always. And one way I want to experiment with the channel, with the videos for you, is I want to check if recording videos while walking through a beautiful forest works in terms of quality, in terms of energy, in terms of audio, understandability, etc. So let me know in the comments if you like this, if this is helpful. I want to keep you up to date and use the start of the retreat, which was basically today, we had our first session this morning, to talk a little bit about personal growth and how personal growth, how leadership development is related to working with your body. And give you an overview of the things that I've done in the last 10 or so years that have given me some sense of who I am in this body, how this body is working, exercises that got this mind and this body more connected, which I think is a main step towards well-being, towards becoming yourself, discovering yourself. So, I guess the thing I want to start with is going to a chiropractor regularly. What a chiropractor does, in my understanding, is they loosen your system of movement. They loosen the fasces, I'm not sure how to pronounce that in English, the things that keep your muscles in place. They correct your skeleton if things jump or slide out of place. I started doing this when I had a slip disc around 8 years ago, I think. And I kept going, not because I was feeling bad, but because I was feeling so much better. And what I'm getting over the years is a much better sense of my body. It's combined with using bare feet shoes most of the time, which keeps me walking in a mindful way because I need to pay attention how I step onto the floor. Also doing yoga, not very diligently but regularly, and increasingly have a better sense of where things work in my body and where they don't, and where things are the way they should be and where they aren't. And the chiropractor gives me professional guidance with that. So I don't only have my sense of self, my sense of my body, which is as bad as any usual person's is. I was never very good at sports, so I didn't like it a lot. I never liked moving a lot as a child. So I'm making up for things I didn't learn when I was small. And the chiropractor makes sure that I have professional guidance with that I don't make major mistakes, that I don't do something that makes things worse or so. One thing that I did before I did that was having somebody use a physical therapy method that's called the Grinberg method on me. And I got to do that at a conference, funnily enough, a project management camp in Berlin, where somebody had asked a few of the ladies who did this to give us a kind of massage in breaks. And I got this 20-minute kind of massage of my back. And on top of releasing my shoulders, the lady had taught me to pay attention to what happens in my system when I do this. And it turned out the next week, when I was back in my job, I was meeting my boss, who was about one head taller than I am, which means quite tall because I'm already taller than most people. And I noticed I was doing this. So I was like, wow, I'm afraid of this guy. How stupid. I wasn't actually afraid of him. It was just a bodily reaction of a pattern that I had learned when I was still small. And that might have been useful as a kid, I don't know. It was definitely not useful at work. So I could pay attention to it, I could change it. And I did a few more sessions with this Grinberg lady, because what she taught me was pay attention to the connection between emotions and physical states in my body, especially when it comes to something being tight, something being in tension, something hurting, and having these chronic tightness somewhere in your body. And as most of us have, I had some chronic tightness here in my belly, around my solar plexus. I have lots of, and still do, lots of tightness around my shoulders, etc., etc. So Grinberg thing has made me sensitive to paying attention how kind of emotional effects that are not properly dealt with are stored in the body, and how we can release them with breath, with breathing into these areas, with paying attention to what emotions come up when you release the tension, especially with the massage or with the chiropractor. So I could bring this awareness to the chiropractic practice, and that made it a lot more effective and gave me a continual learning journey for this. So Grinberg, yoga, chiropractic as the most deliberate, ongoing thing I was also paying for, because it had so much value for my well-being. So that was one thing. Another thing, some of you probably know about P3, Personal Power and Prosperity, p3workshops.com from Orlando, which we've brought to Berlin a few times. They do very deep emotional practice. They, for instance, in the P3 workshop, you will access your anger by moving your body, by beating a cushion with a baseball bat, by shouting, ah! And just getting yourself into this bodily state of anger that we usually don't allow ourselves to get into, or that we think others don't allow ourselves, or we're not supposed to. And what that does is, it releases tension from your body. And one experience I had last year in retreat, when people were holding me back so that I could properly go into my strength, and I could shout, and I could try to break free, and they held me fast, so I couldn't. And I got into this feeling of being caught and not being able to get out. And when I finally accessed, and this was mostly a voice thing, interestingly, when I accessed my belly and my solar plexus and my diaphragm, when I was really accessing the power of my voice in a way that I had rarely done before, I felt something releasing from my system. I felt something, literally some piece of thing I felt falling down, breaking apart. And that was my first experience of de-armoring, of armor that was stored in my body, that had been there for years, probably decades, releasing that tension. And I'll tell you one secret. I lost about 25 or 30 kilos over the last 2 years. That was not due to specific diet or a specific physical regimen or whatever. I do run every day and I do eat healthily, etc. But I've done that for years. What made a difference to me actually losing weight was me letting go of shit in my body that wasn't supposed to be there, that I didn't need anymore. Structures in my body that were protecting me from emotions, or from things that were overwhelming me, or from whatever. When you read The Body Keeps the Score by a physician called Bessel van der Kolk, the probably best book available, known to me, about trauma and how trauma is stored in your body. That explains a lot of how emotional experiences that can't be properly processed and expressed because you're too small, because you feel powerless, because you feel it's inadequate, whatever it might be that holds you back from this, that these get stored in the body. And what I'm getting to is how we can get this stuff out of our body. And I'm noticing it's already 10 minutes. I guess this is past the time that most of you are comfortable to watch one of these videos, and I want to have something to talk to you about during the rest of the week. So for today, this should be good enough. There's more to come as I'm experiencing this retreat, this body de-armoring that I'm currently doing, and yeah, I'll let you know what happens. I'm very, very excited. I hope you like this. Please let me know. And yeah, there's more to come. Like this, subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Share it with your friends. And yeah, let's change how leadership works. Let's change how we lead in this world. Let's change the world we lead in. Thank you very much. Bye bye.